Hi, I'm Harry, and today on Harry Talks Cities, we're going to discuss the gentrification of North Brooklyn. So, North Brooklyn includes the neighborhoods of Greenpoint, Williamsburg, and Bushwick, and it's been heavily gentrified over the last few decades. So, why has North Brooklyn become gentrified? In the 70s and 80s, New York was filled with crime and people fled to the suburbs, so rents were pretty cheap in Manhattan and the center of the city. But in the 90s, as crime decreased and people moved back to Manhattan, rents in Manhattan got pushed up a lot. And so residents who couldn't afford that had to move to Brooklyn to seek more affordable housing. And so they went across the river into North Brooklyn, first Williamsburg, where there were a lot of warehouses that were converted into lofts and residences. And it was a similar pattern to what happened in Soho and Dumbo a few decades earlier. And so in 2005, the city realized that the real estate in Williamsburg and across North Brooklyn was really valuable because of the new people flocking to the area. And so they rezoned a lot of North Brooklyn, converting formerly industrial zones into residential zones and allowing larger residences to be built, taller buildings, more development, which furthered the gentrification of the area.
Gentrification started in Williamsburg and then spread to Greenpoint and Bushwick. So, why did it spread to Williamsburg first? So, for a few reasons. A combination of great L train access. So, this is the L train, this gray line over here. And there's the stop at Bedford Avenue, which it's the first stop into Brooklyn. Great connection across 14th Street into Manhattan. Additionally, its proximity to the waterfront. You can see the neighborhoods over here right along the water, and obviously that's going to make it a desirable place to live, make the real estate expensive. And yeah, the proximity to Manhattan meant it was an easy place for people who still had jobs and like a life in Manhattan to get in and out of the city. And so now let's look at what Williamsburg looks like now. So if we look at, let's just pick a random intersection over here. You can see there's like a huge new development over here. There's like new developments over there, towers over there. There's a lot of new stuff going on. And so if we go back in time to 2007, you can see it looks like a wasteland. There's nothing going on here. One new development, but it looks like the sidewalks closed. You can't go like anywhere over here. There's a house. There's like a bunch of short, low-rise buildings. So you can see, obviously, the neighborhood of Williamsburg changed a ton over the past couple decades. So if it hit Williamsburg first, why did it also hit the neighborhoods to the north and east of it afterwards? So next, it spread to Greenpoint. So it spread to Greenpoint after Williamsburg because it was a bit harder to access. There's no direct connection to Manhattan. You only have the G train that goes farther south into Brooklyn or up into Queens. And also, but the combination of Williamsburg becoming too expensive and its prime waterfront access and the ferry, which launched in 2017, helped make it a destination and a desirable place to live for people who are priced out of Williamsburg and priced out of Manhattan. So let's look at just like a random street in Greenpoint. Let's just go like, I don't know, let's go over here. So you can see there's like a lot of new development over there. Got some old warehouses though to show like what the neighborhood once was like. But if you go back in time to 2007, it looks so run down, a lot of empty lots, an old abandoned decaying factory. Looks like kind of a mess over here. Just looks like a wasteland, and like no one would ever want to live in that neighborhood. So around when Greenpoint was getting gentrified, so this is the neighborhood of Bushwick over here. So it was a few stops past Williamsburg on the L train, so it wasn't as convenient to Manhattan, but still had decent access. So it was sort of when people got pushed out of Williamsburg, they moved to Bushwick, and it thus got gentrified. And it was a more affordable option for those who can no longer afford to live in Williamsburg. And formerly, the neighborhood was more industrial, but there's been lots of new development in the neighborhood lately when people were pushed east. And although gentrification has occurred in most of North Brooklyn, it hasn't occurred in this area south of the Williamsburg Bridge. And so South Williamsburg holds out where there's an established Jewish community, an established Hasidic Jewish community, and also a very strong Puerto Rican community is notable. So if we look on Lee Avenue here, the heart of South Williamsburg, you have a lot of Jewish stores, like a Jewish clothing store, a kosher bakery. You have, you have a synagogue over here. You have another kosher supermarket, a kosher supermarket over here. You have another kosher bakery. Just a lot of Jewish stores that sort of make up the neighborhood south of Williamsburg Bridge.
As the influence of the young affluent class spreads throughout North Brooklyn, there have been a lot of tensions between the new residents north of the Williamsburg Bridge and the Hasidic Jews south of the Williamsburg Bridge. So, recently, a contentious issue that has divided the neighborhoods and pitted them against each other has been the implementation of bike lanes connecting the two sides of Williamsburg. And so the Hasidim have complained that the gentrifiers were coming into their neighborhood, biking recklessly, and not dressing modestly in the conservative manner preferred by many among the Hasidic community.
Also, as an interesting aside, here's a map I came across from the presidential election in Brooklyn in 2020. And you can see that South Williamsburg's Hasidic Jewish community is an island of Republicans and a sea of Democrats because of their more conservative social values and ties to religion.
So, gentrification has changed the communities of North Brooklyn drastically, and according to Curbed in 2018, the median one-bedroom rent in Williamsburg was around $2,900 a month. It was around $2,800 a month in Greenpoint, and around $2,200 a month in Bushwick. So, a lot of the residents who used to live in those communities have been getting priced out of their neighborhoods and can't afford to live there anymore, and they have to move farther out, deeper into Brooklyn or into parts of Queens, or move to the suburbs.
Gentrification has displaced many communities across New York and other cities across the country, but it doesn't have to be this way. Neighborhoods such as Williamsburg, Bushwick, Soho, Dumbo, etc. are seen as desirable and more affordable by the creative class, and when they move there, the wealthier gentrifiers follow, attracted by the shops, entertainment, and overall lifestyle. But the city doesn't build enough new housing due to local resistance, slowness of bureaucracy, and residents who don't want their neighborhood to change, even though the change is inevitable. And when the housing supply doesn't increase to meet the influx of new residents, because the new residents can pay more than the original residents, landlords drive up rents and the original residents get pushed out to make way for the new residents who can put more money in the landlord's pockets. However, if enough new housing is built, the new residents will only take up a fraction of the housing supply, which leaves enough room for the original residents to stay without the rents increasing because there aren't any more people who want to move to the neighborhood and can pay higher rents and price out the original residents. Additionally, building affordable and low-income housing helps maintain the place of less affluent residents in increasingly wealthy neighborhoods, although the debate over how to incentivize the construction of affordable housing is one best left for another video.
Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll be coming out with more videos soon.